Hello dear students, myself Niyati Thakur. In the last video, we have seen the functional cell membrane and its structure that exists in GI tract and how it is responsible for absorption of drugs. We have also classified some major transport mechanisms. Today, we will see all these mechanisms in detail. So the first transport mechanism which plays a very crucial role for absorption of drugs is called as passive diffusion. It's also called as non-ionic diffusion, and the driving force for this process is concentration or electrochemical gradient. Now what is concentration gradient? It is defined as the difference in drug concentration on either side of the membrane. The drug movement via passive diffusion is through kinetic energy of molecule. The process is energy independent. It does not require any energy or expenditure of ATP. And the passive diffusion is best expressed by Fick's law of diffusion, which states that the drug molecules move from a region of higher concentration to one of lower concentration until equilibrium is attained, and the rate of diffusion is directly proportional to concentration gradient across the membrane. The equation is dq by dt is equal to dak m by w divided by h in bracket concentration in GI tract minus concentration in plasma, that is C. Now what is dq by dt? dq by dt is rate of diffusion. Capital D in the equation represents diffusion coefficient of drug through the membrane. A refers to surface area of the absorbing membrane for drug diffusion. Km by W is partition coefficient of drug between the lipoidal membrane and the aqueous GI fluids. CGIT minus C is the difference in concentration in GI fluids and plasma, and this difference in concentration is also called as concentration gradient, and H represents the thickness of membrane. During passive diffusion, the drug present in aqueous solution at absorption site partitions, dissolve in the lipid membrane, and finally leaves it by dissolving again in aqueous medium, and at this time in the inside of membrane. So the passive diffusion involves solubilization of aqueous drugs at absorption site. This solution then partitions and dissolves in the lipid material of the membrane, and finally it leaves the lipid membrane or the lipid region of the membrane and then again dissolve in the aqueous medium, that is the plasma. So let us now study the characteristics of passive diffusion. The drug moves down the concentration gradient or against, indicating downhill transport. So this passive diffusion is also called as a downhill transport. The process is energy independent and non-saturable. So this process of drug absorption does not require energy and hence it is energy independent. The rate of drug transfer is directly proportional to the concentration gradient, that is CGIT minus C. Greater the area and lesser the thickness of membrane, faster will be the diffusion. The process is rapid over short distance and slower over long distance. Equilibrium is attained when the concentration on either side of membrane becomes equal. The drug that can exist in both ionized and unionized form approach equilibrium primarily by transfer of unionized species. Hence, the rate of transfer of unionized drug is more than ionized. Greater the membrane water partition coefficient of drug, faster will be the absorption. The drug diffuses rapidly when the volume of gastrointestinal fluid is low. And the process is dependent to lesser extent on square root of molecular size of drug. The process is dependent on molecular size of drugs. And the drugs having molecular weights between 100 to 400 daltons are effectively absorbed by passive diffusion. So in this passive diffusion, first of all, it is a downhill transport. It is energy independent and the process takes place via concentration gradient that exists between the GI membrane and the plasma. Greater the area of membrane, lesser the thickness of membrane, faster will be the diffusion. Again, the unionized form of drug is transferred at a very high rate to that of ionized. So charge plays a very important role. Greater the partition coefficient of drug, faster will be the absorption, and the process also depends upon the molecular size of the drug. Initially, when the drug is ingested, concentration of drug in GI tract will be very much larger than concentration of drug in blood plasma. And therefore, the driving force for absorption will be the concentration gradient. But as equilibrium exists, the drug diffusion should stop and consequently a large fraction of drug may remain unabsorbed. But this is not the case. Once the drug has been passively absorbed, it enters the blood and it is rapidly swept away and distributed into a much larger volume of body fluid, and hence the concentration of drug at the absorption site, that is concentration in GI tract, is always maintained greater than concentration of drug in plasma, and such a condition is called as sink condition. Under usual conditions of absorption, the value of D, A, K and H are constant, and hence the equation becomes dq by dt, P, which is the constant which is substituted for all the terms, and CGIT. P refers to the permeability of molecules, and it is the ease with which a drug can penetrate or diffuse through the membrane. The equation follows first order kinetics, and hence passive diffusion is first order process. Hydrophobic drugs or molecules are absorbed followed by small uncharged polar molecules followed by large uncharged polar molecules. And the limitation of passive diffusion is that ions are not absorbed by passive diffusion. The second type of transport is called as pore transport. The other synonyms for pore transport are convective transport or bulk flow or filtration. This mechanism is responsible for transfer of drug into cell through the protein channels present in the cell membrane. The most important characteristics of pore transport are that the driving force is hydrostatic pressure or osmotic difference across the cell membrane. Water flux that promotes such transport is also called as solvent drag. The process is important in absorption of low molecular weight like less than 100 daltons. Water-soluble drugs such as urea and sugar can be transported by pore transport. Chain-like or linear compounds of molecular weight up to 400 daltons can be absorbed by filtration. The third type of transport is ion pair transport. So ion pair transport is important for absorption of drugs like quaternary ammonium compounds and sulfonic acids. So you may see that such compounds or drugs have charges on them. Ion pair transport involves formation of reversible neutral complex with endogenous ions such as mucin. And this complex that is formed has both lipophilic and water-soluble characteristic. Such complex is then absorbed by passive diffusion. The common example of drugs that are transported or absorbed by ion pair transport include propranolol, oleic acid and quaternary ammonium compounds. So in this figure, you may see a cationic drug and endogenous anion, which is nothing but mucin or mucin-like compounds. So due to their charges, that is positive and negative, they combine or are attracted to form neutral ion pair. This neutral ion pair then cross the membrane via passive diffusion, and once when it reaches the blood, it is dissociated into cationic drug endogenous anion. So this is how ion pair transport takes place. The next type of process is carrier mediated process. Now this process is faster than passive diffusion as it involves carriers for transport of drugs. Carrier is that component of membrane that binds to membrane reversibly or non-covalently with solute molecules to be transported. This carrier solute complex transfers across the membrane, dissociates and discharges the solute, and then carrier returns to its original site. Carriers are usually proteins or enzymes. In this figure, you may see a plot of concentration of drug versus rate of absorption, wherein A is a passive diffusion process and B indicates carrier mediated transport. Now what is the difference in this figure? Passive diffusion increases as the concentration of drug increases. So you can see a linear plot for A, that is passive diffusion. Whereas in carrier mediated transport, initially as the concentration of drug increase, the rate of absorption increase. But after a certain level of concentration, the process becomes stagnant or steady. So let us now know why such steadiness occurs in carrier mediated transport. So these are some of the characteristics. Carrier protein has uncharged outer surface which allows it to be soluble in the membrane. Carriers have no directionally any work with same efficiency in both the directions. That is either to take the drug from GI membrane to plasma or reverse, vice versa. The efficiency will be same. The transport process is structure specific. So it involves affinity. The carriers have specific affinity towards the molecules to be absorbed. System is a structure specific, therefore false nutrients are also transported. So some drugs which have a similar structural relationship with the vital nutrients may be transported via such transport process. Since carriers are limited, there will be competition due to the affinity between the nutrients and similar agents. The system is capacity limited since the numbers of carrier are limited, and such capacity limited process is defined by mixed order kinetics or nonlinear kinetics or Michaelis-Menten saturation. Now in our body, this absorption takes place at particular site, that is specific sites of intestinal tract which are rich in these carriers, and such area is called as absorption window. There are two types of carrier mediated transports. The first one is facilitated diffusion and the second one is active transport. Facilitated diffusion is a downhill transport. It is faster than passive diffusion. Like passive diffusion, the driving force is concentration gradient. It is energy independent. Facilitated diffusion is limited importance for absorption of drugs. Only some vitamins like vitamin B1, B2, B12 are transported by facilitated diffusion. So here in this diagram, you can see vitamin B12, an intrinsic factor and the carrier. So vitamin B12 will bind to the intrinsic factor because of its affinity, and this intrinsic factor vitamin B12 complex will bind to the carrier. Carrier will transport this complex to the other side of the membrane, and thus it will dissociate the complex to give vitamin B12 in plasma. So this is a very common example of facilitated diffusion, that is absorption of vitamin B12 from GI tract to the blood plasma. The next very important active transport. So this transport mechanism requires energy in the form of ATP. So active transport is energy dependent process. That means if any drug has to be actively transported through the membrane, it requires expenditure of ATP. The active transport process is divided into two types: primary active transport and secondary active transport. So this diagram represents the active transport. We have three compartments, you can see: the GI lumen, that is gastrointestinal lumen, membrane and the blood. So here the drug will bind to the carrier that is present on the membrane to form drug carrier complex. This drug carrier complex will be transported to the other side of membrane by expenditure of ATP, and then the free drug will be released by dissociating the complex, and the free carrier will again come back to its original site or at the site of administration. So this is how active transport of drug takes place. Now let us understand what is primary active transport. This process requires direct ATP. It's also known as unipolar transport. Unipolar transport is a process that transfers only one ion or one molecule in one direction. Carrier proteins are involved in primary active transports, and they are of two types. The first one is ion transporters, and the second one is ATP binding cassets. Ion transporters are responsible to transport ions in and out of cell. The common example of ion transporters are proton pumps. Two types of ion transporters play a very important role in intestinal absorption. The first being organic anion transporter, which transports organic anions, and the second one being organic cation transporter, which transport organic cations. ATP binding cassette or ABC. These transporters are responsible to transport small foreign molecules like drugs and toxins out of the cells. Since they transport such foreign molecules out of the cells, they are also called as efflux pumps, and the process is called as adsorption. The common example of ABC transporter is P-glycoprotein. Now this protein is responsible for pumping hydrophobic drugs, especially anti-cancer drugs, out of cell. And the presence of such proteins thus make cells resistant to anti-cancer drugs, and therefore the P-glycoproteins are also called as multi-drug resistant proteins. Secondary active transport. This process involves no direct requirement of ATP, as it takes advantage of previously existing concentration gradient. The two types of secondary active transport processes are symport, which is also called as co-transport, and antiport, which is called as counter transport. So in this figure, you can see the passive transport, active transport, primary as well as secondary. The region in this figure tells you about passive diffusion, that is the movement of drug from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. The next section of the figure tells you about primary active transport, where the transport of drug takes place from less concentrated region to higher concentrated regions by expenditure of ATPs. So ATP gets converted to ADP. The next section of the figure tells you about secondary active transport, in which you have two types, symport and antiport. So symport is also called as co-transport, and hence since it is an active process, it will transport the drugs from a lower concentration region to a higher concentration region by expenditure of ATP. But at the same time, there will be a co-transport of another molecule in the same direction. So therefore it is called as the symport or co-transport. Whereas in antiport, the primary ion to be absorbed, it gets transported from lower concentrated region to a higher concentration region by expenditure of ATPs. But there is also a counter ion transport, that is, at the same time another species of molecule or ion will transport from a region of greater concentration to a smaller concentration. So both the transport mechanisms in antiport transport will be opposite to each other, whereas in symport both the molecules will be transported in the same direction. This is another diagram that shows a passive transport and active transport. Now let us understand what is symport or co-transport. It involves transport of both the molecules in same direction as I have indicated in the figure. Common example is sodium glucose symporter that uses potential energy of sodium concentration gradient to move glucose against concentration gradient. The another example is proton coupled peptide transporter that is responsible for absorption of peptide like drugs like beta-lactam antibiotics. Antipode transport, which is also called as a counter transport. Now here in this transport, molecule moves in opposite direction. For example, expulsion of sodium ions using H plus ions or expulsion of hydrogen ions using sodium gradient in kidneys. Characteristics of active transport. It is an uphill transport. It is faster than passive diffusion. Energy is required. It is inhibited by metabolic poisons that interfere with energy production like fluorides, cyanides and dinitrophenol. Endogenous materials like sodium, potassium, calcium, iron, glucose, amino acid, niacin, pyridoxine and ascorbic acid are absorbed. Drugs having similarity to these agents are absorbed actively. Examples of drugs are 5-fluorouracil, 5-fluorobromosil via pyrimidine transport, methyl dopa, levodopa via L-amino acid transport system and enalapril via peptide carrier system. In this figure, you can understand passive diffusion and active diffusion. So why passive diffusion is called as the downhill transport? Since the movement of drug takes place from a higher concentration region to a lower concentration region. Active diffusion is called as an uphill process since the movement of nutrients or drugs take place from a low concentration region to a high concentration region by expenditure of ATP. The next mechanism of absorption of drug is endocytosis, which is obviously the minor mechanism and involves engulfing of extracellular material within a segment of the membrane to form a vacuole which is then pinched off intracellularly. It's also called as corpuscular or vesicular transport, and it is only the transport that does not require the drug to be in aqueous solution. So dissolution of drug is not required. Drug is engulfed as such via a segment of membrane or inside the segment of membrane, and then it is pinched off intracellular. Endocytosis is responsible for cellular uptake of macromolecules like fats, oils, vitamin A, D, E and K, as well as vitamin B12 and insulin. So this figure tells you about endocytosis. This is the macromolecule. This macromolecule is engulfed by segment of membrane to form a vacuole, and then this vacuole is traversed to the other side of the membrane, releasing or pinching off the drug molecule or macromolecule to the other side, that is in the blood. Endocytosis are of two types. The first one is phagocytosis, which is also called as cell eating, and in this process absorption takes place of solid particles. The second type of endocytosis process is pinocytosis, which is also called as cell drinking, where uptake of fluid solute takes place. A classic example of pinocytosis process is orally administered Sabin polio vaccine. Large proteins and botulism toxin, which causes food poisoning. So to summarize, today we have learned about different mechanisms of drug absorption. The first being passive diffusion, which does not require expenditure of energy, which is a downhill process and explained by Fick's law of diffusion. The next one is ion pair transport, wherein the ionic solutes or drugs are transported by endogenous substances present on the cell membrane like mucin. The next one is carrier mediated transport, which involves carriers or proteins that are structurally specific to certain molecules and responsible for transporting such molecules from GI tract to the blood plasma. And carrier mediated process is a mixed order kinetic process or non-linear kinetic process. Next is facilitated diffusion, which also involves carriers and intrinsic factors. So we have studied a classic example of vitamin B12 absorption. Then comes the active transport. So here, as we have studied active transport, it is divided into two types, primary and secondary. And under secondary, we have symport and antiport. Coming to the other minor processes of absorption, endocytosis is a common one, wherein engulfing of the molecule of interest takes place, and this endocytosis is further divided as phagocytosis and pinocytosis. I hope you have understood the concept of mechanism of absorption of drugs. Thank you.